Welcome to Domino One. I'm your host, Smith Paul. Let's talk a little bit about the Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson interview tomorrow. So, my thing is, I know this is before the interview, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit, at least pose this question before the interview. What's next? And perhaps you're wondering, what does that mean? So, what do you mean by what's next? To me, what's next, meaning after we watch the interview, and obviously we know what side Andrew's going to take, and we know what side Candace is going to take, right? So they're going to battle it out. Don't get me wrong. I think this interview should happen. I think it's always good to have people not just yelling from the left to the right, but bring them together. See who has found a strong foundation. See who doesn't. Because social media is all about people bringing up their opinions, their expertise and stuff like that. But sometimes and all of those things are not really expertise. It's just really opinions masquerading behind some sort of facts or whatever. But I think what's next is a question that we ought to ask ourselves. And the reason why I started thinking about that, so I'll give you a little, slight little backstory as to why I came to that question or that conclusion. I remember before Charlie Kirk died, I was starting my channel. I was working on my book. My book is published now. Scars Beneath the Skin. You can get it on Amazon if you're interested. And it is about CSA, how to combat CSA after you had been a victim or before, or ways to go about your life. Just it's a self-help book for that. So I wanted to reach out to Charlie. So to Charlie's camp. When I heard the news, just like everybody else, we saw what happened. I was devastated. I was devastating not because I knew Charlie. I knew him just as much as you knew him. We knew him from TV, what he was saying, what he was about, what he stood for, and everything. So I was devastated for multiple reasons. First one was the fact that we are watching something so gruesome, which prompted me to think, now what have what have we become as a society, right? Whether you didn't agree with Charlie, whether you agreed with him, all that stuff aside, you're looking at a human being being executed, being murdered on national TV in front of a ton of people. So I'm thinking about all these questions, what that is doing to the people who were there, who lived it, the people like myself who saw it on TV. I did not want to see it. I just went on X, and next thing you know, the video is right there. So I did not want to see it, but I saw it nonetheless. So it gets me thinking about what we are becoming, which is why I'm asking, after the debate, what's next? Because we already know what Candace is going to say. There will be a quote unquote winner, quote unquote loser. Okay, fine. But what is next? So for me, the question that we should be asking, how do we get to a point that those kind of things, whether you agree or disagree with somebody, they don't happen again? How do we get to a point like where we put the social media, like the media in general, the views, the money that's being made off of all of that stuff? How do we put all that aside? And so the reason why I'm thinking this way too, to bring it a little bit closer to home, I remember when the Charlie Kirk happened, I've lost friends, people that I thought were actually good friends, and I wasn't even that vocal about any of it, but they were posting like crazy, and any pushback they would get, that person would deem the enemy because you're siding with Charlie Kirk, and therefore you agree with everything that he was saying. And I feel like it's just such a cancer. It's being metastasized as we speak every day, where you say you believe in free speech, but the moment somebody disagrees with whatever it is that you're talking about or you stand for, you see that person as the enemy, which is why, again, I feel like whatever force that was behind Charlie Kirk's murder, I believe it was about what he stood for, and they disagreed, the impact that he was making, the way they felt like they can combat that is by taking his life. And I think it's horrible. I preach about, ethics, foundation, spirituality and stuff like that. So I think it all connects. So whether it's Robinson who actually killed him, which Candace doesn't believe that's the case because it's like way too muddy, which again, there are a lot of conspiracy theories in that. But at the same time, I understand where she's coming from a little bit. Would I do it the way that she's doing it? Absolutely not. As far as Andrew, he's going with the facts, what we know, but he's not really looking into like the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. But I remember when Charlie Kirk died. So now that I'm in front of the camera speaking to you, giving you my opinion, and I'm posing questions, getting us to think a little bit more deeper, more rationally, more in depth about things, right? I remember asking somebody who at the time represented a mother figure in my life. And I asked her. So she clearly didn't agree with Charlie Kirk and she wasn't brazen enough to say that she didn't believe that it was right to kill him that way, but she wasn't pushing back, and she was, to say to put it mildly, I said she was indifferent, but she would be leaning towards like he got what he deserves, which a lot of other friends were displaying the same messages on Facebook and stuff like that, which I thought was despicable. So I asked her this question, very simple. If you're watching right now, perhaps you're in content creating, so you can see this and you can put yourself in my shoes or Charlie's shoes or anybody else who has an opinion that they're giving you right now. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, right? So somebody's bold enough to stand in front of a camera and tell you what they feel, how they feel, and that's my opinion. You can like it, you can dislike it. That's my opinion, right? I asked that mother figure. So I create content now, right? So if somebody clips a short amount of a whole monologue that I did, and they took the most incendiary, quote unquote, perhaps to some people, and then they just clip it, and they just keep going through all my videos and just clip the most, I don't know, just call it whatever they disagree with, radical things, which I don't say radical things, but nevertheless, they clip them all, and then now they create a narrative of who I am. Oh, this guy, this Smith, he hates, I don't know, when people get married when people have kids outside of marriage, kids out of wedlock, like whatever it is that I talk about that I feel like we should do differently, my opinion, and a lot of times I like to back it up with facts, with stats that I can find, right? So I asked her, so if somebody took those clips and then therefore this is who I am, they deem it necessary. It's necessary to actually take my life because I stand for something that they don't stand for. Would you approve of that? You know me. Let's just bring it home. Let's just bring it closer to home. Let's just make it more personal. Would you agree with that? And she couldn't say much. She had nothing to say. And my point is that if we are a free country, we have free speech. We should be able to say whatever we want to without having somebody hating us so much for opposing to their views and wanting to take our lives. If that's the kind of society that we have devolved into, we need to make a U-turn right away because that's not sustainable. There are millions of people with an opinion on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on Twitter, whatever. But the moment that they get big enough, you feel like they're making a difference. You feel like taking their lives is the only way to stop them, as opposed to engage in communication with them and may the best idea wins. I feel like we're just going down a really, really bad path. And so they're going to make a lot of money doing this interview. It's the interview of the year, whatever. Candace has a lot of followers. Andrew has a lot of followers, and PBD has a lot of followers, right? PBD is going to be moderating the debate. To me, at the end of the day, it's just going to be another debate if we don't talk about what really matters. It's not about like, well, this is the conspiracy theories. This is what Tyler's camp saying. This is what this is. But this is. So it's just going to be like a I don't know, like ping pong game, like bang, 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 bang. You're just hitting it this way, the person hitting it this way. At the end of the day, we don't learn anything that we haven't learned before. And that's been kind of like what it's been like for Charlie. And I like Michael Knowles' position because at the end of the day, we can talk about just about anything, have an opinion about anything, debate anything. But at the end of the day, there's so many people who have been making money off of just like coming up just ridiculous ideas. But let's bring it back to what it is. We're talking about a father, a son, a husband, somebody just like you, somebody just like me who had an opinion and made it big enough. And this is how they took him out. And I think it's despicable, not just because I was going to reach out to Charlie and I wanted to get to know him. And, you know, I think he was a force for good. You can be a force for good too. Any of us can be a force for good. But a lot of times we choose to not do that. And a lot of times we choose to follow the wrong crowd. To me, again, I'm not asking you to agree with Charlie. I'm not asking you to agree with everything that he's ever said. Of course, I didn't agree with everything that he's ever said. But you mean to tell me you like you better, like you that much better than him to disagree to everything that he said, everything he's accomplished? We all have faults. We are all flawed, right? So therefore, those people acting like, that person that I just told you about, that mother figure, and other friends who have posted really, really awful things about Charlie. And the simple question is that I always ask them, so have you ever watched a full video, a full, like a full podcast, a full episode? And the answer is always no. So that's why I asked that person, that mother figure, if that was me, how would you have felt about that? Because I'm creating content. I'm saying things that a lot of people are not going to like, but that's okay. You have your opinion and I have mine. If you really don't want to hear about my opinion that much, this platform here, YouTube, you can do the same thing. It's not prohibited. Like, it's not, they don't discriminate. You can open a channel as well and have at it. But if we cannot have that, if tomorrow's going to be another debate where it's just going to be like a ping pong match, you hit it this way, I hit it that way, hit it this way, I hit it that way, and just a whole bunch of bloviating, a whole bunch of money making, and a whole bunch of selling negativity for no reason, boil it down to its essence. It may not have been you. Obviously, it wasn't you. It was Charlie. And we're seeing a lot of bad things happening. A lot of bad things happening where people are being targeted, where violence is just like rampant everywhere you look. I'm just saying. I'm not naive to tell you that there's never been violence in the past. It's just gonna stop if we do this and that. But as a civilized society, we can do better. We can be better. And how we can be better is to go back to our core foundations, our core values, understanding what free speech really is. I'm not talking about hate speech. I'm talking about free speech. We can all have an opinion and debate and engage and let it all out there. But we cannot just hate somebody because they don't like your opinion. Hate them so much that we want to take them out. We're going to take their lives. We're going to murder them. That kind of stuff's not okay. So my hope, my wish for tomorrow is that we will get somewhere where Candace can be bold enough to say, I see what you mean, Andrew. That makes sense. I didn't see it that way. Okay, since Charlie was my friend, so I shouldn't be out to get those people who were Charlie's friends and family, his wife. That makes sense. Let me pivot here. Andrew, you're going to be doing the same thing. If Candace is making good points, instead of just keep rebuttaling and just stick to your point, no matter the evidence, dude, it's okay for people to be wrong sometimes. It's okay to be wrong. And I feel like the bigger people get within this society, whether it's social media, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever, the bigger they get, they feel like less they can be wrong. That's not how it works. The bigger you get, you should be vulnerable enough to know that at any point I can be wrong. Don't be blindsided. Don't have horse blinders on, right? So for me, my thing, I lean with Michael Knowles. So in case it wasn't clear enough, I believe life is a gift. That's not what he said, but I'm going to get to it. I personally believe life is a gift, so therefore it should be cherished. We owe it to ourselves to love and respect one another, despite our differences. That's the only way we're going to make this work. It's just one world. If we can't make it work, we always have to hate each other because we have a difference in opinions. We're not going to get far. That's a guarantee. It's just going to be mayhem, and it's just going to continue this way. And as somebody who has 4 kids, I want to leave them a better world. That's always the goal, to leave it better than you found it. And to do that, we need to think a little bit deeper and less with our feelings, more with facts and rationality, right? We can't just react. We got to take a step back and think. We got stop letting propaganda kind of dictate our next move. Stop letting social media tell us who to believe, what to believe, how to go about our lives. Read the facts, read a book, get to know people, understand the value of life. I think that's how we get farther away. So Michael Knowles decided not to moderate the debate, despite how much money I guess he was going to make. I respect that, because at a certain point, Charlie died a very, very gruesome death. We can be out to get the truth. That's fine. I'm all about the truth. Let's find it however we can within certain guidelines, right? Obviously, if you look on social media since Charlie died, starting with Candace and everybody else, it's just been nothing but propaganda, conspiracy theories, facts. It's just people just making money off of it. And so I just feel like Charlie deserved more than that. And again, I'm not talking as a sycophant. It's more like I'm talking like I was a fan of a lot of things that he was talking about. Our values merged. So I was a fan of what he was doing, right? So therefore, I felt like I owe him this much to just talk about it. Since I'm in the content creating and I talk about a lot of things that he used to preach about, I felt like I owed him that. And I feel like for the last time, I'm going to say it, let's get somewhere as opposed to this weird loop that we've been doing. Whether you hate Charlie, you love Charlie, we're for Charlie, against Charlie, this was the truth, this is the truth, this is conspiracy, this is propaganda. This is just stupid stuff, right? We should get somewhere much better than that. So tomorrow, again, hopefully we can get somewhere productive, and it's not just a shouting match. It's not just a you wrong, I'm right, you right, I'm wrong, and stuff like that. We actually can be bold enough to understand. Let's get to the bottom of it. If you're right here, I'm wrong there. Fine, thank you. Thank you for telling me, and vice versa. So thank you for watching the channel, and thank you for following my 30-day challenge, how to be a good dad. I appreciate all the love. Please subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm not one to just like follow the herd. So I see what the left is doing, what the right is doing. I see what this group is doing, what this group is doing. I know what I know. I see what I've seen as far as how Charlie died. I'm trying to narrow it down, to boil it down to its essence. Don't complicate things too much. He died a gruesome death. It's not fair. You wouldn't want to die that way. None of you. All of you having opinions and facts or whatever it is, none of you would want to die that way. But yet you have an opinion. And you know a lot of people won't agree with your opinions. All you got to do is just make them public. Just start a YouTube channel and you'll see. Would you want the same fate that Charlie got? Would you want the same outcome? None of you should. And if you say yes, you are lying. Nobody should. I don't. I just know that this is a free country. We have free speech, and we have we can debate, we can talk, we can express ourselves, short of just creating violence or just announcing some type of divisive type of language that will create violence among us. So I think we can do all that stuff. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, but you got to think. Don't let social media, don't let the government, don't let propaganda get the best of you, and therefore you stop thinking all you got to do is just like follow a herd. No, open your eyes and understand what you're looking at, and have the foundation, the gumption to take a side, and hopefully it's going to be the side of truth. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, share the channel. Till next time. Bye-bye.